In a world where sudden twists can happen at any moment, some accidents exceed all expectations and leave deep scars. These are situations that begin as simple everyday moments, a trip, a jump, or even a lapse, but end in true tragedies. That is exactly what we are going to see here today. Elizaveta. Liza Gushchina, a 45-year-old mother and an extreme sports enthusiast, died tragically on the 30th of August of 2025 during her birthday celebration in Pavlovsk on the outskirts of St. Petersburg, Russia. She had just completed a bungee jump from a tower, about 90 meters high. The jump itself went fine, with all safety equipment used correctly. However, minutes later, while she was still up on the structure, Liza decided to approach the edge again to take a selfie. At that moment, she was no longer properly secured, nor with the safety gear adjusted to protect against a possible fall. The place was wet because of the rain, and as she stepped onto one of the damp boards, she slipped and fell from the tower, suffering a fatal fall before the eyes of her son, Nikita, who witnessed the entire scene. The case shocked Russia and raised questions about the safety conditions of the event. Authorities opened an investigation to determine whether there was negligence by the company responsible for the jump and whether appropriate protocols were followed after the bungee jump ended. The case of the valet who wrecked a Ferrari valued at approximately about $595,520 United States dollars in Campinas, Sao Paulo State, Brazil, caught the world's attention. The vehicle involved is a Ferrari 296 GTB. According to reports, the driver involved was a valet at a luxury car dealership, an employee specialized in moving the store's vehicles. He lost control of the car at high speed, mounted the sidewalk, and knocked down, or collided with, the gate of a residence. The front end of the Ferrari was completely destroyed on impact. Despite the scare, the valet got out of the car on his feet, with minor abrasions or injuries considered minor. There were no serious injuries, according to the accounts. The Chinese acrobat in question is named Isekaier, a sixth-generation member of the Dawa Z troupe, traditional tightrope performers among the Uyghurs in China. He attempted to cross a gorge on a tightrope 700 meters long and 200 meters high, walking backward and blindfolded, holding only a long balancing pole. When he was already very close to the end, about 40 meters short of completing the route, he slipped, creating moments of great tension. The fall was from a great height, but surprisingly, he suffered only minor injuries, partly due to protections that had been positioned below. He stated that strong wind and a sensation of dizziness contributed to his loss of balance. A cyclist was seen, during a competition, barreling down a hill at full speed and taking a heavy spill. The video shows the competitor charging down the hill until he loses control of the bike and literally flies to the ground. The images are startling because of the brutality with which the cyclist hits the ground, with the bicycle breaking and him left sprawled on the spot. Despite the impact and the fall, he reportedly was okay. The fall really impressed viewers, and many felt the cyclist was very lucky not to have suffered something worse. A gender reveal party in the year 2023 turned into tragedy when the plane used to announce the baby's sex crashed in San Pedro, Mexico, causing the pilot's death. According to the newspaper El Universal, Luis Angel, then 38 years old, was taken to the hospital but did not survive his injuries. In the video made by a guest, which went viral, you can see the small plane flying over the couple hosting the party and releasing pink smoke, signaling that the baby would be a girl. Right afterward, the wings seem to break and the plane goes out of control, crashing farther ahead. The Army cordoned off the crash site, and civil aviation experts conducted an investigation to determine the causes of the accident. The people at the party seem not to notice what happens to the aircraft and keep celebrating until they finally realize what occurred and call for help. In 2019, at Rally Chile, Thierry Neuville had a very serious accident that forced him to retire from the event. The incident happened at kilometer 13.9, shortly after he ran wide on a cresting corner and hit the left side of the road, which caused his car to roll multiple times. The car was severely damaged. There was even a report of a small fire that was quickly controlled. Neuville and his co-driver, Nicolas Gilsoul, exited the car with assistance and were airlifted to the hospital for tests. Despite the scare, the exams determined that neither suffered fractures or serious injuries. Neuville later commented that in that section, he went a bit more than expected into a fast corner, underestimated the entry, and ended up being caught out, perhaps by terrain that was not clean nor entirely predictable. The case of Tanya Chiquature made headlines in 2017 in the United Kingdom when she lost control of her car after driving drunk and collided with the island of a roundabout, being catapulted into the air with her son of about 20 months in the back seat. According to records, Tanya, then 32 years old, was driving her vehicle in Peterborough while heading to a funeral. She had a blood alcohol level more than 3 times over the legal limit at the time of the accident. While attempting to overtake a truck, she carried out the maneuver in a no-passing zone, solid lines, and upon reaching the roundabout, collided with the concrete of the central ring, launching the vehicle. The car, according to witnesses and dashcam footage, flew about 4 meters and even hit a tree before landing on its side on the asphalt. The boy, fortunately, was unharmed. Tanya, however, suffered some unspecified injuries. In court, she admitted to drunk and dangerous driving, was sentenced to 26 weeks in prison, and had her license suspended for 3 years. During a woman's aerial silks performance, something terrible happened. She was performing tricks on the silks, showcasing her impressive skill, when, right at the end of the act, she lost focus, did not hold firmly to the fabric, and fell to the floor from a considerable height. Luckily, she managed to partially cushion the fall by trying to grab the cloth, and the tumble was not as abrupt as it could have been. She was assisted by people at the venue and later taken to the hospital, where it was determined that she had nothing serious. An accident that happened on the morning of the 3rd of January of 2024 on a railway in Ponta Grossa, Paraná State, Brazil, was recorded by the security cameras of the company that manages the railroad. A double-trailer truck was crossing the tracks in an urban stretch when it ended up being struck by a train. The impact was so strong that the semi-trailer completely detached from the cab, tipped over, and was thrown to the other side of the rail line. The force of the collision also knocked down the crossing's traffic light and scattered debris along the road. According to information released by the local press, the truck driver allegedly tried to cross the tracks even with the red signal and later said he did not hear the audible warning of the approaching train. Despite the dramatic scene, no one was injured. The rear part of the truck was empty at the time of the accident, which likely prevented a tragedy. The security camera video shows the exact moment when the train hits the vehicle and the trailer detaches, toppling violently on the other side of the tracks. The case drew attention in the region and served as a warning about the importance of obeying signals at railroad crossings, since even at low speed, the mass and momentum of a train are enough to cause total destruction to a large vehicle. An impressive video shows a crash captured by a dashcam in April of 2015, when the driver fainted at the wheel, left the road, and crashed. In the video, and through the driver's own accounts, he says that in an unexpected moment, he lost consciousness, mentioning symptoms such as dizziness, blurred vision, and ringing in the ear, interpreting it as a sudden drop in blood pressure. He regained consciousness after the impact and, over time, shared more details, including the process of restoring the car, which was heavily damaged. By sheer luck, he did not collide with another vehicle or something solid that would certainly have resulted in a more tragic outcome. A forklift operator was caught by the security camera outside a company in a moment that surely no one would want to be in his shoes. In the footage, he appears operating the forklift that was supposed to remove some pallets of bricks from a truck. He then slots the forklift into the pallet, but when lifting it with the bricks, something happens and yes, the bricks all go to the ground at once, causing true desperation among those present. Right when he tilted the forklift's forks upward, it was very noticeable that it would not work. However, he insisted, and this was the result, a hefty loss. When it comes to large vessels, their entire architecture is surprising because of the colossal size. Imagine then, the size of an anchor needed to keep such a gigantic ship in the same place. Unlike smaller boats, where you can throw the anchor into the sea with your own hands, these require a whole hydraulic system to lower and raise the anchor, since no person could bear its weight. It turns out that the weight of the anchor and its chains is sometimes so great that it can cause defects in the anchoring equipment, as this eerie video shows, in which the anchor drops uncontrollably, even causing sparks and smoke. As we can see, shortly after the anchor starts to descend, the chain gains unbelievable speed. The friction even generates a small fire, filling the deck with smoke. In the end, the chain is lost to the bottom of the sea, anchor and all, as it disengages from the anchoring system. An incident in 2014 at Barcelona's El Prat airport came very close to becoming one of the biggest tragedies involving aircraft in history. On a Saturday morning, the Boeing of the airline called UTAIR, flying from Moscow to Barcelona, was approaching to land on runway 02 at El Prat when it realized that an Aerolíneas Argentinas Airbus, taxiing for takeoff toward Buenos Aires, was crossing the same runway where it intended to land. By great luck, visibility was good, and the UTAIR pilot noticed the dangerous maneuver on approach when he was below about 100 meters in altitude. He immediately executed a go-around, aborting the landing to avoid a collision. Despite the proximity to disaster, no one was injured. The UTAIR repositioned and landed normally afterward, and the Aerolíneas Argentinas flight took off later without incident. This incident prompted investigations by Spain's civil aviation authorities, who analyzed air traffic control recordings and the operational procedures of the aircraft involved, since, apparently, there was a communication error. Don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more videos like this.